Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Smite Draft League. This is still week 2, Premier Division, and we have two great teams here. I am filling in for Anthony on this set. I am iNooblet, still joined by the one and only KingFsher. Are you excited about this matchup, King?
I am extremely excited. It's been a long few hours waiting for this one to get going, but we should have a really good game here. It's Divinity taking on Terra. I think Terra dropped their set last time, but had a really good showing, so I'm excited to see what they do in this one.
Yeah, and I think it is important to note here, Divinity did lose their last set, but due to a ruling, they actually took the win for that set. Either way, it was hard fought, and we do have Life of the After Party trying to bring it back here in the league. But for statistics purposes, they are up with W's. And now they got to take on Terra, which have proven to do really good things. We saw a couple of these members, specifically SandmanSam and Swagga, do work in that Mage Joust tournament that we just held last week. Got all the way to the finals, had to play up against Paul.
Yeah, gotta be a cool thing to do, but unfortunately did fall in those finals. I think one other thing to mention about Divinity, they are playing with a new member today. It's Rawan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Instead of Jay, I think they just made that transaction today, so I'll be interested keeping my eye on how they do. And this is the first Thor we have seen in this league. Obviously got that recent buff with the damage on the wall. Exactly.
I've been waiting for that. Thor has been a hot topic in the chats with some of these players. No one has quite taken the opportunity to play him yet. It's not a massive change to the Thor kit, but it certainly is a good change. And Thor, historically, when he's good, he is great. So I'm happy to see him here. Pairing up against that Neja on the other side, which has been destructive in everybody's hands in every set we've played. And a friendly face of Kabrakan in the hands of SandmanSam currently. He's been banned out a lot. He will be in this match.
Yeah, I believe this is also the first Kabrakan we've seen of the season. Like you said, I think he's been banned out nearly every time. Saw a couple nerfs, but obviously not enough to dissuade the players. Still a fan favorite here. And Thor and Kabrakan, that is not only a lot of walls, that is a lot of CC with only the top 2 picks.
Ooh, the Khepri lock-in, another god we haven't got to see play a lot. Because he's almost instantly banned in the Khepri Morgan. That's giving me some flashbacks here to a clip we saw where the double Khepri res in, I believe, a tournament we had. That was crazy. It was the Bring Your Own Team tournament. 2 Khepri reses on one Rama who just couldn't be stopped. That's going to be exciting to see if they go that route with it.
Yeah, I hope that's the reasoning for locking those 2 in at the same time. One of the greatest plays I've ever seen. But regardless, I think Khepri, another one of those Guardians, just like Kabrakan, we see banned out a lot. I think he's been banned at least 75% of the games we've seen so far. And the Morrigan, another pick we don't see a lot, but is so dependent on how you execute that god. More than any others, you really got to know what you're doing with Morrigan in order to be good.
Wow, Lancelot locked in too. So this is, so far, a lot of gods that we have not gotten to see because they've been banned and they're played here. And another great thing about that Morgan is now you also have a Kabrakan Lancelot Thor on your team at any moment if that ult is up. But Lancelot, going to be tough. Going to be interesting to see where this goes. We did witness a Lancelot carry not too long ago last week. So it could be, for all we know, this could be Thor support. This could be Kabrakan support. This could be Lancelot support. Any of them in the jungle. Any of them in the solo lane. You can just never really tell with this Terra team. Be exciting to see where they go from there as we now see a Cthulhu ban. Maybe they were watching the last game earlier. Don't want any part of that. And a Vulcan ban. Like you and Anthony were talking about, Vulcan's been popular, not historically a big ban.
Yeah, he definitely has been getting a lot better lately. I think people are starting to use him a lot more. Like you said, Snoozism on the last set on the Cthulhu was extremely impactful, so want to take that out. I am happy to see the Thor, Kabrakan, Lancelot. I hope one goes to solo, because I remember last week, Terra had Xotzz play all Hunters and Mage ADCs in the solo lane. I don't think it worked out very well. I don't think we did at the time either, so if he gets back onto more traditional solo, I'd like to see it. And a Zeus. Wow, they are bringing out all the deep picks this game.
That is a spicy pick if it's locked in here for Xotzz. You don't see Zeus very often. We didn't even see it once banned or picked in a Joust tournament, which is where Zeus really thrives. Here, it could be a good play just because you have so much lockdown as it's swapped over to a Sylvanas.
And they had to switch it to one of my least favorite gods in the game. No offense to Sylvanas.
Oh, you
players.
shut your mouth. Sylvanas is
hold
bae.
up. I don't have a pro. It's mannequin Sylvanas. Tilts me more than anything else in this game. I think it's because I'm bad. I can't beat it. So I do hope it's not mannequin Sylvanas. That begs a question. It very well could be a Lancelot ADC. I think it's also possible one of these picks goes into mid lane. I feel like I've seen some Cabrakan and Sylvanas mids. I think that's a little bit more likely than one of these picks going to ADC.
Yeah, honestly, full damage Sylvanas can work really anywhere, especially when he's surrounded by a team like this. So it's already pretty tanky enough. More of a traditional side over here on Divinity. If I was a betting man, I would be able to tell probably where their gods are going in what lanes. With Wrath of Terra, I'm not even going to pretend to know. It could be all over the place. I would like to probably see that Sylvanas in mid if it's going to go anywhere. Just because you just commit to the damage and not be left out on an island by yourself.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think probably maybe not as high damage as Cabrakan, but I think Cabrakan benefits more in different roles. I think Sylvanas slots most easily into mid there. Like you said, a very normal looking team comp from the enemy team, and call me old fashioned, but I do really like that. I think it's a lot easier to execute. You know what you're doing, and you are taking the execute, speaking of, away from the Khepri, and a Kali to round it out. Okay, yeah, I officially have no idea where anything's going on that team.
Yeah, if that Kali gets locked in, I wouldn't necessarily say it rounds out this team. It's a pick. All these picks individually are great picks. Together, I don't know how it's going to go, but the level these guys are playing at, it absolutely can work. And sometimes these weird team comps do work because you're not ready to play against this. You have not planned to play against Sylvanas, Lancelot, Cabrakan, Thor, and potentially a Camazotz. So you're going to be changing your strategy on the fly just to deal with this. So they could take advantage of that, and it could work.
Yeah, and I do like this Camazotz more than the Kali. I think it kind of fits their whole team comp more. I think these are all very bursty picks. So having Kali that doesn't come along until late game, I don't think it'd fit too well. You could try to speculate a bit if they are in the same roles they were last time. That is a Camazotz mid lane. Oh, yeah, and Thor solo. I think Valyouuu was a jungler, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, it's going to be wild. No telling. We'll only find out when we get in game. And speaking of which, we'll see you there. Game 1, Premier Week 2. Meet you in game. Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally into the game. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Hi-Rez isn't immune during Worlds, and neither are we here at Smite Draft League during Premier Week. As we get into it, we can take a look at finally what we determined to be the team composition of Wrath of Terra. I'll let you guys see it as well. Keep in mind there will be a long pause coming up here shortly as the players pause in order for us to reset. In that moment, we'll take a break and get you right back to the action afterwards. But what do you see here, KingFsher, starting off?
Honestly, I think the biggest discrepancy in start is going to be in that mid lane. I think Sylvanas and Morrigan are going to want to play that lane very differently, and I think their builds kind of reflect that. Starting off with what I think is a tier 2 Book of Thoth versus the Mannequin Scepter. Ooh, and that might be a first blood onto Lushblood, and it is.
It is indeed the first blood onto Lush. And who could have guessed it? The junglers come over to the solo lanes. That's already a weird dynamic, and they're going to keep pushing forward. IJustWantFPS is trying to get out, but how do you escape a Camazotz and a Thor? 1 HP, gets a little heal. Abilities off the mark, and he's dodging, but finally goes down. That is 2 kills for Wrath of Terra.
Yeah, it is, and a really good 2 to open it up. We've seen that trend with junglers going towards the solo lane first, trying to find that early gank. Doesn't work out all the time as you see the opening 2 for the blue team fall on that one. And now, it is a Lancelot ADC. We've seen this once before. I think... Oh, I'm blanking on who it was. I think it might have been Tomcat as BornToMeme getting looked at.
Yeah, this Khepri real low as we see SandmanSam finally get the mannequins kill in mid. And there's BornToMeme down. Suli gets Swagga. It is a brawl right here. Cabrakan versus Valyouuu. Valyouuu with the slight edge sends Cabrakan packing. We're already only 2.5 minutes in. 1-4 on kills. I imagine this aggression is not going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah, I definitely don't think so, because looking at the Chaos team, they are a very aggressive team comp. I think we identified that on the desk. given just how unorthodox it is. They definitely have the advantage early on. It's hard to adjust to. It'd be hard for any team to adjust to. So I think the more aggro they play and the more chances they take, the better it's going to end up for this Wrath of Terra team.
As we go into a bit of a lull here, what do you see from the builds? We already know that the team comp itself is kind of crazy, but how do you like the builds coming out of Wrath of Terra, this craziness they started?
I definitely like the Stone of Binding on the Cabrakan. I think Stone of Binding is an incredibly undervalued item, just how good it can be. But besides that, I think Thor going Soul Leader, we still see a lot of people going Soul Leader. It's got some pretty substantial nerfs. So I'm a little bit surprised it's still this close in the fold as Swagga picks up BornToMeme again. Rough start for the Khepri.
Yeah, but that's not really what you want to see when your Lancelot carry is popping off, getting a couple kills. You kind of just want to keep him behind, because once that Lancelot hits 5, he gets a couple items online. It is so hard to stop him, especially with the team comp they have here. Only a couple stuns, one of them living over there in Soul Lane. So it's going to be real hard to get him off his horse. But heads up play in Wrath of Terra, getting the aggression back in the duel lane.
Yeah, good job there from Wrath of Terra. And now we see a lot of them tick over to level 5. Oh, and here the pause does come out, so we are going to throw it into a short break, and we'll be right back when this resumes, week number 2.
We appreciate your patience, ladies and gentlemen. The pause is still going on for a few more seconds, but we'll go ahead and get back into game here, as we've determined there's about to be a spicy play. You can see SandmanSam came over here to the solo lane to use that mannequins, but what we don't see is Thor. Thor is around here somewhere, as you can tell from the mini-map, but it's in the air, so IJustWantFPS looking like he might get dunked on here in a second. Don't want to miss the action.
Yeah, definitely don't. We all love a good Thor dunk here, and definitely within that threshold to get taken off the map. But something else we did notice while we were paused is it is a tainted steel on Thor, which is a little bit odd. I guess there is a little bit of healing inside that kit, maybe wanting to mitigate that one Achilles ability that gives him health on abilities, do you think?
Yeah, I think it has use. The stats behind it are pretty good. If you look at it, the physical and magical power and the prots you're getting right away aren't bad if you're playing in the solo lane. And just the healing early from Achilles can be obnoxious, kind of falls off later. It's not going to do that much work, but it certainly can win it, as we're going to get back in the action here. 1 second, and there's the dunk from Xotzz. I'm sure he was upset by that pause, as he was right about to cue that up, but a great kill onto the solo laner. Lancelot in a bit of trouble here, is going to use that horsey and the ult and get right out, and that's the issues with trying to kill a Lancelot.
Oh yeah, could you imagine the pressure inside that pause? You have a full few minutes just to look over. Okay, where's the Achilles gonna go? Is he gonna go left? Is he gonna go right behind tower? That is not fun to mess up. Luckily, Xotzz does get the dunk for his 3rd kill of the game. This Thor solo, I know I questioned it a bit on the desk, but it is paying dividends right now, doing a really good job. As IJustWantFPS hasn't even hit level 5 yet, going into the 5th minute.
And this is a bad spot over here in duo lane. I'm not sure why Swagga didn't step up there. Cabrakan does have ult. Probably could have caught out BornToMeme since he doesn't have his ultimate yet, and they might try here. So it's worth watching a little bit as we see Valyouuu headed back over to try and deal with IJustWantFPS one more time. There's now been 3 people coming over here ganking this man. I'm sure he's screaming for help, but right now he's going to be safe under tower.
Yeah, lucky for them. Now the Neja backing as well. Still did tick over to level 5, so she'll get a little bit of an upgrade, and despite going with the tier 1 Morningstar, goes for the tier 2 heavy mace. Not often we see people start a tier 1 then switch it over, but maybe it's a new build path I don't know about, or just wanting that brawler's beat stick. There is a pretty decent amount of healing inside the enemy team.
Yeah, I would imagine, if I had to guess, it was just your natural build where you're probably going into Transcendence or something, and then going, oh wait, there's a lot of healing here. I'm going to switch it up. It's not worth... Oh, I'm just 1 FPS real low. There's the slight heal. But we know Tainted Steel is a thing. Thor's going to try and get that hammer toss. He's already half health, and that's a good hammer. Claims the kill and walks out with his life. And more action in mid is a big Sylvanas ult. Remember, he's damaged. SandmanSam gets the kill onto Lushblood. And we have a Morgan transformation into Camazotz. All you can do is use Bat out of Hell and get the Bat out of Hell. Gonna live their life. But wait, the blink! the real Xotzz. Valyouuu goes under tower and claims the kill. 9-1 here, 6 minutes in. Wrath of Terra putting in work with this scary, wacky team comp.
Yeah, for all the questions we had raised there, answering them really emphatically, it is an incredibly strong start for Wrath of Terra. I think one thing we always talk about is how kind of can they transition this into getting pressure late game. And I think the issue always comes to when do you start those neutral objectives. I think one of the biggest ways on the map to really pull ahead, already up 4,000 gold, and in just 6 minutes it can get a lot higher. Suli in trouble. Oh.
Is a good 1v1 here for Suli. Could be huge to get the kill onto Swagga. But of course he has the health and the shield from the horsey and is just going to walk right at him. Going to be pretty hard to get him off his horse 1v1. We see a little action here in the lower jungle. KingFsher already half health. Getting some CC on the BornToMeme. They're all going to go their separate way. And IJustWantFPS just probably wants a break from the action, but has been fighting this whole time. Just staying under tower. Can't do much, but wait for the wave to come to him.
Yeah, just wanting FPS is just wanting a little break from the aggression. Thor up was 3, now only 2, so probably about 2.5 levels. It's Suli really the only player for Divinity that's having a good time, I think. Obviously doing pretty well into Swagga 1-0. I mean, that's a really good scoreline looking at the rest of the team. So I think they would want to play around this ADC a lot more and kind of let Suli dictate the pace that this match is going to go at.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of what we said. They probably practice, Wrath of Terra that is, practice this team comp before coming in. So they know how it works and they're confident in using it. But Divinity didn't have a chance to play against something like this. So it's a learning curve, and right now the element of surprise not against them as BornToMeme can't go anywhere. Caught in the trembles of KingFsher, and eventually SandmanSam uses Sylvanas ult, which just erases Born. Didn't even get a chance to put his ult off onto himself. Just gone. When will it end? 10-1, 8 minutes in.
Yeah, good job from them, but unfortunately for BornToMeme cannot stay alive even with the ultimate, and now Morgan in trouble.
That was a great two-man stun. It's going to turn into Achilles, but that's not going to get you out of dodge. Rawan falling down to SandmanSam once again. Here's Lushblood sashing onto Xotzz. Not much going to come from that, but at least letting him know he's there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily hate the thought to try to go after that KingFsher, unfortunately just out of execute range. Still, though, maybe saving your life worth more than that kill. Morgan is building into a double book build really early on here. This is something we have not seen in tournaments or league play. Be interested to see how it goes, as Valyouuu does not care that Achilles is on him.
Yeah, just going to kind of go around here trying to steal the blue buff. Still has Bat out of hell, so can get out at any second, and actually does get the secure 1v2 onto the blue buff. That is just salt in the wound here. It's going to blink out to safety. And goes the ultimate from Xotzz right onto FPS. Kind of missed it, but still up 2 levels, 4-0. You can have a couple missed Thor ults here and still just be fine.
Yeah, now with that sovereignty, this Achilles is looking a lot tankier and looking a lot more confident into these fights. Now DiscoFerry in a 2v1 on the wrong side, but still sending both players running in terror. That's the kind of influence you can't buy, but Lushblood coming in could spell trouble for the KingFsher.
Gonna take him right up to the sky, and the team's here to follow up. It is a pretty tanky KingFsher. He's a quarter health. Great 3-man stun and tries to ult them off, but Lushblood was on the other side of it. Sashes in. One more autos to do it. Gotta collect the beads. Sylvanas is here to try and get a kill for a kill, and Lushblood is already out of there. Great job to get something, and a huge pull back in. KingFsher gets the revival, and Lancelot goes straight back in and is looking for a double. Valyouuu is here to try and help the squad. Good sash to keep him in the Valyouuu ult, and it's a trade after trade, and Divinity looks like they have life here. Valyouuu has made his way over, and a huge Thor ult. Already beads done. BornToMeme gone. SandmanSam gets a double kill, and the huge assist from Xotzz.
Yeah, right as that was looking really good for Divinity, the entire team falls. Really good ult from the Lancelot, anticipating that KingFsher revive. Swagga got a good one, and then another good sash from Lushblood, keeping him in to go down. So a couple of really nice trades there, and honestly, if I'm Divinity, I don't really hate that. Sure, the tier 1 falls, but you get a little bit of XP. Still down 6,000 gold, 10 minutes in. That is not where you want to be.
It's tough, and they played it really well. They got something for their efforts there and didn't just get wiped, but already Wrath of Terra is just so far ahead that it's such a tough ask, and they played so well together. The whole squad was there, ready to help. It's a 2v1 over here at the blue buff once again, and Rawan had to change into Camazotz just to get out because he was fighting the real Camazotz.
Yeah, but luckily is going to escape alive, will not fall to 0-5 yet. So now Xotzz forced into the sky. Do you think he's going to go for Lushblood?
He actually goes on to FPS. Of course he does. They're just always going at this guy. He's got to use his ult to just try and make some space, but you have a Thor chasing you. A great wall. Slight hill. Not going to be enough. Bit of banter here as he lets Achilles think he might live for a second, and he is. A lot of damage onto this Thor. Lushblood is here to help. Sandman gets Suli off the screen and a good sash in. But what can we do? Everyone's health bar is so low. FPS, how is he still alive? Not anymore. And now Lushblood is deep and Lushblood is dead. Double kill for Valyouuu. Huge fights just non-stop. I think at this point, Divinity just wants to try and farm and catch up, but Wrath of Terra is not letting him.
Yeah, we're going to need to get some kind of statistician because this has to be some kind of record. 17 kills in 12 minutes. That is not something you see every day. Wrath of Terra doing an incredible job applying the pressure. Also, not every day you see a level 14 Sylvanas 12 minutes in. So yeah, a whole ton of firsts for me here on the cast.
It is wild, but it is about what Wrath of Terra can do with this. Too many times we see people with such a massive lead that they get overconfident and make a couple bad steps and then go a couple too far. There's a couple feet too far on certain plays and get... Ooh, that was almost a really good pull. I'm saying they might overstep and they might get punished for it. And Divinity has good enough players to make them pay for making mistakes. Suli's going to walk straight into a Swagga here who automatically pops the ult. And Valyouuu and Xotzz is here. It doesn't matter where you are on the map. You are not safe from 3 or 4 members of Wrath of Terra. I can tell you right now, these guys played together a lot in their off time.
Yeah, definitely practicing a lot since their loss last week. Looking to bounce back in a pretty big way. So now they are running down a Khepri 13 minutes in, and BornToMeme is going to be born to dead here in a little bit, unless they pull off. I think they do, but still, I think like you said, it's about what they can do with this lead. Nearly 15 minutes in, they have not looked for a Gold Fury, a Pyromancer, even their Scorpion is still alive. Wrath of Terra need to start getting on some of these objectives if they want to keep this pressure going.
Yeah, and you see him go over here to the Pyromancer and collect a few of the jungle buffs. They really can do whatever they want at this point, but it does matter what they choose to do. They were walking it down almost to the Phoenix, scaring off the team. A good sash in, 3-on-1 here. Can they get Xotzz up to the sky? Goes Neja as Wrath of Terra secures that Pyro. Xotzz pays for it with his life. They are probably okay with giving up that one, but little plays like that, you didn't need Xotzz to die there. Kabrakan has a blink in, misses the stun. Lushblood's very fast off that ring toss. Rawan going deep in there, changes, already has the Khepri ult on him. A good sash from Lushblood to stay alive for a moment. Rawan actually gets the kill, 1v2, ends up falling. IJustWantFPS is finally in this fight. It's a 2-on-3, not a good spot to be before Huyi gets over here. They're pushing them under tower. Kabrakan is just walking at Achilles, who is dead. What can Suli do to turn this around? Drops the ultimate right on Swagga, who is tanking this tower. Suli gets the kill onto Swagga. DiscoFerry is very low. The Valyouuu is here, and he does a lot of damage. Trembles, making it so they can't go anywhere. Bat out of hell, looking at BornToMeme as the third member who died earlier shows up to the fight and cleans them all up.
Yeah, and that is a beyond chaotic fight from Wrath of Terra. I think they got, what, 6 kills throughout the entirety of that fight. Now Lushblood trying to kill Xotzz. I think Xotzz just doesn't care. Wow.
Where is the health? Watch out for the dunk. It's coming in. And what a good dunk from Xotzz. This is anarchy. People are dying, spawning, and coming back to the fight and dying again. The action never stops here in the Smite Draft League, I swear.
It really doesn't. It's kind of crazy. Wrath of Terra now 24 kills in 15. Forget about 17 and 12. They add, oh gosh, math, 7 more onto that in the span of 3 minutes. That cannot feel good for Divinity, and look at all their relics. It is blinks across the board for Terra. They still want to keep hitting this W button. They're still going for buff invade. SandmanSam takes one down at the red.
And you can tell just off pure confidence with these blinks. Generally, that would make you probably lose a couple engagements, but these guys are playing so well together and they're so coordinated on their attacks that why not have everybody have blink? Oh, what a great pullback in on BornToMeme, who's got to use the ult on himself, and that allows Suli to die. BornToMeme's not out of trouble yet. Gonna sit under tower. That hasn't worked before. It might not work now. SandmanSam just trying to get the mannequins procs. That's a dead BornToMeme, and Lushblood is under Phoenix. Actually gets a good sash and an ult up to the sky. He's gonna kill Valyouuu, but can he get out? He gets pulled back in and has to use Aegis to prevent dying to a Sylvanas mid that's standing at your Phoenix line while a T2 is still up. Action's not done. Why would it be? A good stun and ult from IJustWantFPS. DiscoFerry using good stuns. Has to pop that horrific to get him off. Here's the Xotzz dunk. He's been here the whole time. IJustWantFPS is now in trouble when it was a 2-on-1. Half health, walls on walls on walls. Gonna let him get out. And the whole time, Lancelot has been pushing left lane.
You know, this might be a hot take. I think Divinity still have a pretty good shot to win this. Terra are doing so good, but I think they're just going for kills more than they are actual impactful parts on the map. Is now Xotzz in right. I would say he's in trouble, but I don't think he is. Way too tanky, does way too much damage.
He is taking a little bit of poke here. He does not have ult to get out. He's using his hammer toss aggressively. There it is. He's going to use it to get out. He is level 17 and can take this 1-on-2 and leave IJustWantFPS with half his health and just walk off for free. That's got to feel pretty good when you lock in something like a Thor solo, and it is doing absolute work in this game. Oh, there's a blink. Swagga comes in, immediately met by a sash. Use the beads, chases down Lushblood. Dead Lushblood. IJustWantFPS goes the other way, says, sorry, buddy, I got to get out of here. 4 people around this tower right now. Look at this. 3 members of Divinity are in the middle lane and left lane. IJustWantFPS has nowhere to go. Someone give him a Google Maps escape and a great ultimate to CC immune the Thor dunk. KingFsher uses ult. Will they kill him or let him go all the way back to Phoenix? But the blinks on blinks on blinks. They're in the Phoenix. They can't even take it. Here's the Sylvanas ult that knocks 3 members up, kills IJustWantFPS. KingFsher's gonna grab Sylvanas to try and make a play here. Rawan gets a double kill, and now they're chasing down DiscoFerry. It is now 4-on-1 here. He's gonna go into the jungle and get away. But wow, they're turning it around. It looks like it's still in favor of Terra, but hey, they're extending pretty hard and giving Divinity some free kills.
Yeah, and I think just like I talked about there, instead of going for the tier 2 tower push or maybe pulling back and going for a fire giant, which I think would have made a really good call, even if you don't get the FG, you certainly wipe their team there and march it down to at least Phoenixes. But no, they try to dive Phoenixes, they dive tier 2s for kills instead. They do get those kills, to be fair, but not much map pressure coming out of it. Xotzz just looking at the KingFsher though. I mean, can't deny, Terra feeling confident, and they have every right to be. They are playing this game extremely well, keeping Divinity on the back foot, but they need to capitalize.
They do. I think it's the name of the game. They're playing it well, but they're also playing with fire. This Gold Fury has been up for a very long time, and it has not been touched. They got a Pyromancer. That's about it. You have the pressure to do whatever you want. This gold lead, which is currently sitting at 8,000, could easily be 12,000 if you were just getting objectives. These boys are out for blood, but you don't want it to bite you in the butt. You're giving kills after kills, and now Rawan is equal levels with Sylvanas, who just ticked over. You're giving them XP. Yeah. Every time they kill you, you are so far ahead that it is huge golden XP for that player that killed you. And you're giving them a chance to come back in this.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting you pointed them being 8k in the lead. They were 8k in the lead like 6 minutes ago. So they really need to start building on this lead. And like you said, they can do anything they want. If they wanted, they could probably literally walk it down all lanes and get some Phoenixes. But they're not yet. Maybe just waiting for something they want to see to engage is Valyouuu. Still, I think they also need to group up. There's 4 strong here from Divinity. They're playing a little bit dismantled. But as we do see them going back here for, I would assume, the Fire Giant, it is going to be an FG call as DiscoFerry starts it up. This is the right play, but can Divinity take it away?
Valyouu's just lurking around. Is going to blink in on the back line. KingFsher had already walked past him. Not going to be able to help. Bat out of Hell's up in the air, zoning 3 members of Divinity, and a good wall hammer gets the Beast Aegis out of Suli. Fire Giant, a quarter health. Here's the big fight. Knocked up. Valyouuu ult has come out. KingFsher ult is already done. Valyouuu gets BornToMeme. Valyouuu gets Lushblood. Rawan gets SandmanSam. But it is still a 3-on-4, and they're not looking healthy. IJustWantFPS has a sliver of life. He's barely getting out of the trembles, and Valyouu's going to clean that one up for a triple kill. And the boys aren't done. They are trying to get Rawan, or at least send him packing all the way back. What will they do here? Will they chase the kill? Will they get the tier 2 or go back to fire?
Honestly, I think tier 2 and back to fire is a play. Phoenix is also really valuable at this stage. I think just like we said, it wasn't even important about getting the Fire Giant. They got 3 people off the board. They can now go into Phoenix's, and they can go into Suli too, who's going to drop immediately.
An unofficial quadra for Valyouuu as he picks up Suli, and a couple of the boys have spawned back. Not a lot they can do as this Phoenix is about to fall down. They don't even have a true DPS character to get these down. And it's going to be a bit of a discombobulated fight as up in the air goes Neja. Down comes Valyouuu. Lushblood is dead. Lancelot chasing people down into the Titan room. A good stun from Rawan's going to make Swagga pay. But they do have a Phoenix. They're getting a little something out of these over-aggressive plays.
Yeah, definitely did not need to go diving the Titan like that, I think, for the kill. But regardless, they do get a tier 2 tower. They do get a Phoenix. It's the right Phoenix. Left probably would have been more desirable for a Fire Giant push, but definitely the right call, just running it down right, given how short the kill or death timers are on the side of Divinity. So good play from Wrath of Terra. I think they've cemented their lead a little bit more again, going up again 11,000 gold. And now I think the door is still definitely open for this Fire Giant. I mean, another fight like that and you just kill the Titan. You don't need the Fire Giant, you just need the picks.
They even could just go straight fire here, as no members of Divinity are anywhere around this. Gonna sell for the Pyromancer. Gold Fury still has not been touched. I like that they got a Phoenix. But here goes Xotzz up into the air. Let's see if he lands on FPS. He does get him just on the edge. Hammer toss straight away into the wall just to keep him in place. Here's the Trembles. Half health on FPS. A little tankier than before. The squad finally shows up, leaving BornToMeme on an island right in front of him. He's going to take some damage before he probably gets out, and we see a 1v1 up here. SandmanSam now can't handle Rawan, who goes into the bat of hell and cleans up the kill.
Yeah, good kill from the Morgan, and I think this is where Wrath of Terra has to start being careful. They did almost get the Achilles there on right, but they left a member stranded to die in the mid lane, so can't be affording those small victories to Divinity. But they are now 4 strong in mid. I would expect them to push a mid tier 2 here. They got a decent wave heading in, but instead the call is Lushblood.
Yeah, Lushblood had to ult out just to create some distance, but you can't get away from a Valyouuu ult. Valyouuu is in the Titan room right now. Is going to take on a little bit of a 1v2 as FPS is taking on a 1v2 up top. Now a 1v3. Valyouuu goes down, overextended. Big Xotzz dunk. Morgan real low here. Gets a bit of protections. Dead. IJustWantFPS gets Xotzz. Kraken ults down. Valyouu's ults down. FPS, tanky boy now. Taking on a couple people, just trying to push him out of the Titan room. But fire minions are pouring in the right side. 3 members dead on Wrath of Terra, 2 dead on Divinity. So all in all, that went in favor of them.
Yeah, and I think that is the first fight we've really seen in the favor of Divinity. Wrath of Terra do get that tier 2. Unfortunately for them, step a little bit too far. But with the fire minions pushing in into right lane, I think they definitely could afford to that fight. They still have pressure no matter what happens. Now 25 minutes in, the Fire Giant's viable, the Scorpions, the Gold Fury, it's all on the map, and I think all for the taking of Wrath of Terra. Divinity really can't afford to step up to those objectives right now if they're quick with them.
And honestly, I don't even know that they should step up to these objectives. The fight's been brought to them every time afterwards, and now they're going to start winning these fights. The longer this game goes, the more items that Divinity gets online, and the more chance they have to win one big fight and end this game. So I'd like to see a little sense of urgency out of Wrath of Terra here as they go around the Fire Giant. Looking to, they do deward it. So now that little corner ward that usually gets most people does not. But they're not even going to start up the fire here. They're looking for another fight. As DiscoFerry is going over towards right lane, which has 2 people in it. BornToMeme has dashed in. Will not be able to dash out by himself over here. Suli's all the way in left lane, so if this Fire Giant starts up, no one's there to help. And it's a good wall and a good stun. BornToMeme just locked in place. Can't even dash out without grabbing somebody. BornToMeme done. Xotzz is up in the air. Juicy two-man ult. Looking for it. Maybe just zoning for this Fire Giant that has been started up.
Yeah, and it does look like they are in there. Finally, 27 minutes into this game with almost 40 kills to their name, gonna take the Fire Giant. Really good timing now, and with their support dead, if I am Terra, I am running this down the right lane. I think they have the damage where they don't need to get other Phoenixes. Great Cabrakan.
That was such a good Cabrakan ult. Had to blink forward for it and perfectly blocked 1 FPS from ulting out. Valyouuu caught in right in the middle of 3 of them. Gets the leap off, but Valyouuu can chase. That ult gonna do nothing against Valyouuu. He is deep into the enemy territory. Suli's got an Aegis just to live. Lushblood finally goes down. Rawan claims one, but Valyouuu claims another. Rawan just trying to zone the entire team at Terra and buy some time as they are walking it into the Titan room, but probably going for Phoenix here if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably the smart play. I think Swagga is still your main tower DPS, despite not really being a hunter. Probably closest thing to it. Now, Divinity, if I'm them, I don't even know. Okay, they are going to back off. I was going to say, I don't know if they should put up the Phoenix defense. I don't think they have the damage to kill Titan, so saving lives definitely good. Rawan needs to be careful. Valyouu's looking at him.
Yeah, so they have Fire Giant. Terra has... Wow, look at that damage coming out of Rawan. That's what happens when you give him a chance to get some items online. Valyouuu going to be sent packing now when he's been the one aggressing most of the time. Rawan doesn't have ult, so he's going to have to do it with just the Morgan stances. Still chasing down. Finally has that Doom Orb online, so is very fast. But all you really gave up in that engagement was a normal Fire Giant, and they didn't get anything off it besides a weakened Phoenix.
Yeah, that's true, and now I think Terra still at an advantage in this game, despite playing at a little bit of a weird pacing. We do see most of them moving in here into left. I think that's the right play to get that Phoenix down as well. I think mid is arguably the easiest to siege, just because there's so many ways you can come in, and with this team, we've been seeing them do a lot of flanking, a lot of off angles. So I think if they are able to storm down the left lane, they're looking like a really, really good spot to end it. One good team fight, and it's all over.
Yeah, I would like to see Terra go down the left lane here, just because the actual ability to take structures on your team is very low. So if you get this left side Phoenix, that's going to set you up well for EFG now having fire minions pour in both lanes and someone committed to that left side. And EFG is really what Terra needs here. Like I said, it's tough to get these towers and this Phoenix down with the team comp they have, and EFG on their backs will make it a lot easier. And you're going to see them take down that tier 2 right there very slowly. They're a bit split here. They're doing a 3-2 split left and mid lane. It's going to be interesting how Divinity puts up a defense here.
Yeah, and I don't know if it is the right call to put up a defense. I think as long as they don't lose any lives, but this keep... Oh, speaking of, Suli feeds burned early.
Yeah, very early. Cabrakan accidentally cuts off Xotzz, but SandmanSam is there to ult. A good KingFsher reset to keep Suli in this fight. We can see it deep in the Titan room. Swagga actually takes out Lushblood. The rest of Divinity is chasing down Xotzz. Cabrakan real low too. SandmanSam is a squishy target. Suli gets a kill onto Valyouuu. And this is looking like a good defense for Divinity. 2 dead on Terra, only 1 on Divinity. Successful defense?
Yeah, it started out looking really rough, but definitely, I think this keeps reminding me of, I've heard it in the SPL, I forget which one says it, but you only hit level 20 once. All game, Terra have had the level advantage. They've been pushing them back. But now you have a level 20 Valyouuu, a level 20 Morgan, a level 19 Neja. No matter how much of a lead you have, they are going to start hurting. And we see that as SandmanSam and Valyouuu both get almost 100-0 instantly when they get turned on. Terra, though, to their credit, did get the tier 2, and I still do think they have pressure. But I think this next EFG fight is going to be a lot more competitive than they think it is.
Yo, and a great Aegis from Suli as Xotzz dunked down on him. Is going to negate that, not die here, be available for maybe an EFG defense. But like you said, level 20 is what really matters. You can see Morgan is completely online except for the starter item upgrade. That's why Rawan's swinging so hard. Everyone to level 20 in this game except for Lushblood and BornToMeme, who are just almost there. You have bought so much time as we tick over to the 31-minute mark for Divinity to get together, no longer be surprised by this team comp, and actually make a good stance and have a chance at turning this around.
Yeah, and I definitely do think they still have a chance, but I think the favor definitely going towards Wrath of Terra. They do have a 16,000 gold lead. All of them are full build except for one tier 3 item. A lot of them have upgraded relics, and I'd assume some potions coming out too. But now, there is a limited amount of time on this Fire Giant. I think about 30 seconds to respawn. So Wrath of Terra doing a really good job here creating space. Big leap in by Valyouuu.
Rowan immediately has to ult just to get away from Valyouuu, but yet Valyouuu used almost the entire kit other than the ult. Is now going to Uno reverse and chase down Rowan. Good Capriol to keep it alive. Valyouuu is dead. The boys of Wrath of Terra are on EFG though, and no one really in position to help. Xotzz was up in the sky just taking a gander to see if anybody would come here. This EFG could be a death sentence despite Divinity's best efforts to bring this game back.
Yeah, and that is a great job by Valyouuu creating that much space, drawing attention to himself. Gonna allow Wrath of Terra to take that Fire Giant. Unfortunate Cabrakan ultimate miss. Now, luckily for Divinity, they're a man up, even with EFG. I think if Wrath of Terra tries a big siege, it could be in trouble. DiscoFerry might die.
Here's a huge fight here that could decide. Wrath of Terra does have EFG. IJustWantFPS gets the kill, but SandmanSam takes out Rowan, who has been huge. Here's a blink ult in straight onto Suli, and he's gone. SandmanSam with the double kill. Just ramming it down mid lane, and that's a triple kill for the Sylvanas mid. Thor gonna go straight up to the sky, and let's see where he lands. Right onto Lushblood, who beats it. Turns his attention to IJustWantFPS. Has a slight prayer to get out of here. And don't tell me SandmanSam's gonna get the Quadra here. It's the unofficial Quadra for the Sylvanas. They're walking it down mid lane. 3 people slowly ticking down this Phoenix, and it's gone. There's a weak Phoenix on right. There's a full Phoenix on left. There is only one Lushblood to try and stop him.
Yeah, and I think Wrath of Terra making the smart move here, going for the Phoenix. Sure, it's 3-1, but I mean, Neja has a sash and ult to take him out. SandmanSam with a big ultimate, though, is Lushblood. Falls for his 12th death. I don't know about this end call. I do not think they have the DPS to get this done by the time they respawn, but we'll see. Rowan is up.
They did get a deicide, and that is usually the green light to go into the Titan room. Rowan already gone. Suli half health does drop the ultimate to try and create some space. Titan's half health as Suli finishes off Swagga. Here comes Xotzz. It seems like he always has a dunk. Suli beats Aegis down. Khepri reset will buy them a little more time. They did get a little health back onto the Titan. BornToMeme is just trying to defend this game 1. Titan a quarter HP. IJustWantFPS is there, but it's all for naught as that is game 1, and what a game.
Yeah, great job there by Wrath of Terra on that Titan call, taking out Suli. I think the one that had been doing the majority of damage to them in a lot of these team fights. It's a really good target prio, taking him over the Titan. And while it falls slow, it does fall. Wrath of Terra take game number 1 in a pretty convincing fashion.
Yeah, and it looked for a second like Divinity had some life to come back into it, but it was just too strong, this comp, that nobody could have drawn up. You see a 14-6 on the SandmanSam, 12-5 on the Valyouuu. Boys on Divinity did as best they could, but that was a tough ask. Be very interested to see what happens in picks and bans. I don't know that you can really adjust as Divinity to this team comp, because if they locked this in and did it this well, Lord only knows what they have up their sleeve next. But we will find out as we roll over to game 2. We'll meet you in there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with a game 2 and an exciting matchup between Wrath of Terra and Divinity. Already you can see some picks and bans have changed. I'm iNooblet, joined in the caster booth by KingFshers. Walk us through what you see so far, King.
I like the Thor ban a lot. Xotzz was incredible on that pick, I think, so good to limit that. I think the one thing I'm kind of wondering if Wrath of Terra is going to continue with their little unorthodox comps, or if they're going to go back to something more normal. I mean, we saw the odd stuff in week 1 too, so I have no doubt they're going to pull out something that's going to be hard for Divinity to adjust to.
And I appreciate the Thor ban right off the bat. Despite how hard that entire comp was, that Thor was absolutely a catalyst. Xotzz was just dunking on cooldown everywhere. You thought he was in the solo lane, all of a sudden he's dunking on your ADC. You dive in the Titan room. It was all over the place. Get that variable out of there. Put him on something else. Hopefully that has less impact. Try and make this happen. But you got to imagine Divinity right now is racking their brains on what could be locked in.
I think it's kind of hard to say before we do see the lock-in, but Vulcan, okay, maybe a little bit more of a normal team comp, assuming it goes to mid lane. But I think we talked about last game, we talked about it in the first set we saw today. The Vulcan's becoming a lot more normal pick. He's doing really good right now. On the other side, the Dodgy Hover didn't have too much success in our first set of today, but I still do really like the pick.
I love this. So IJustWantFPS taking the Dodgy, maybe. It is hovered. Assume that will go to Lushblood unless they're going to do something crazy and send that over to the solo lane. I'm not sure why Lushblood wouldn't pick for themselves, but hey, Dodgy is a great lock-in. Brings a lot more to the table. Brings a lot more to the table in a group fight. And my least favorite god locked in, excuse me, my third least favorite god, Loki's #1, is Arachne. And a Sylvanas locked in. The boys of Wrath of Terra staying true to their mascot from their logo and locking in that Sylvanas. Luckily, though, Kraken was taken away from them. Didn't have to ban it. Picked them for themselves over in Divinity.
Yeah, and the Arachne Sylvanas lock-in, now I'm getting confused again. It might not be a mid lane Vulcan, but I think the most normal thing would be Sylvanas support Arachne jungle and Vulcan mid. And if that is the case, that is an extremely strong, extremely aggressive mid 3v3 that they've drafted themselves.
And yet I wouldn't bank money on that being the case.
Right.
Every time we've watched this squad, whether it was the 3-game set last weekend, we just don't know what's going to go on. Cupid is a great pickup, though. It seems like they're really now building their team comp around being able to control the space around them and meshing abilities together. Not just individual skill, whereas a Valyouuu can mark one person and go in on them, does have a big ult, but doesn't really do much if they get outside of it. Neja, very single target. Now it's a Dodgy who can pull multiple people in with chains. And of course, Kraken, all the disruption that brings. So far, very good response from Divinity.
Yeah, and I do like this Cupid pick for Suli. I think he was incredible on the Valyouuu last time around. I think Cupid is one of the stronger ADC picks we've seen. It's really highly prioritized. On the back end of that, the Lancelot ban, I think, is very smart. Swagga did so good on that pick, especially into Lushblood. I think forced 12 deaths onto that Neja. Not something you want to see out of your jungler, but now we are still waiting on the mid laner for Rawan. And do you think they run back the Morgan or maybe go onto a different mage?
I would like to see the Morgan run back. I think Rawan played it very well. Did build a little obscure build. Typically, we see people rush into the movement speed with the item I can no longer think of, even though I said it a million times. Doom Orb. Thank you, King. Went actually with the Book of Thoth, so building very ability based right off the bat, and of course Book of Thoth did get buffed. Didn't even get the starter till the last item slot, but I think it's good. And then you would have 2 Kabrakens, 2 Dajis, 2 Cupids on your team. Tiamat is hovered though. Does bring a lot more to a fight. Abilities to send minions up lane, a lot of disruption, and a little bit more tankiness, and we see that get officially locked in.
Yeah, I mean, you could have 2 Cupids or 2 Dodgies, but who needs that when you have 1 Tiamat? Does a lot of things really well, and a much more aggressive mid lane, I think, as it's a double ADC pick here, and if that is indeed locked in, I think one of them has to be going to Xotzz. We've already seen him on Hunter solos this year a lot, never does too bad, but a Giannis. Oh, I hope it's a Giannis.
I would love that. That would perfectly balance out this team because Arachne is one of my least favorite gods and Giannis is my favorite god. So I would appreciate that lock-in, and it would be a very interesting team comp. I'd imagine probably Vulcan's going solo, or are we just looking at they're picking their solo laner right now? It was there's so many options. I'm not going to even pretend to guess what they're going to lock in, but what we do know is it's going to be a spicy pick.
Yeah, it definitely will be, hovering a lot of different picks, and I mean, they do have 2.5 minutes to decide, I guess, so could keep us on a string here. But looking at the rest of the team, it's going to be really interesting to see how they play, because I think Arachne, Sylvanas, both are incredibly aggressive early game. Rama and Geb, I think, kind of really come alive late game in contrast. I think altogether a much more not necessarily viable looking comp, but I think one that'll play better together. Seemed like their old one, they kind of just relied on individual picks. And to be fair, they did get those individual picks every single time, but should be a lot more chemistry in their comp.
I'm gonna call this right now. I think that's a Geb jungle. I just gotta feel it. I love Geb. I love Geb jungle. And it seems exactly like what you follow up last game with. Could be a Geb solo too, though. We've historically seen that a lot since his buffs and changes to his kit. But I would imagine I wouldn't even bank on Sylvanas or Geb being support here. It's probably a Vulcan support. So Vulcan does look like it's going over to Xotzz. Probably see it in the solo lane. I'm guessing absolutely nothing. I don't know what I'm doing. I have lost all sense of awareness while watching this team play. All I know is it's going to be some great Smite as we see all these teams locked in, and we will meet you in what is bound to be a memorable Game 2 of Wrath of Terra versus Divinity. See you there. And here we are in the game. Game 2, Wrath of Terra versus Divinity. And boy, oh boy, are these team comps interesting to say the least. Walk us through what you see here, KingFsher.
I mean, to be fair, I know I kind of harped on it last game, the weird team comps. I like most of the team comp from Wrath of Terra. I think all these picks can kind of work. Oh, that is absolutely disgusting.
That is the most toxic thing I can possibly imagine.
That side cracks me.
We actually have an Arachne support and a Sylvanas carry, and Sylvanas went up and stole the purple buff right off the rip, and Arachne soloed the rest.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, besides the Arachne support, I don't hate the rest of this team. I've seen all these picks work before, so it's definitely possible. I think a lot more feasible than their last one. BornToMeme, though, is in trouble early.
Yeah, just eating those spiders on cooldown, and 1 more HP. Actually gets out with literal 2 HP. Is going to live, but is now pretty terrified of this team comp over here. You got mannequins, you have an Arachne, spiders never quit. You have SandmanSam on the Rama mid here. That's an interesting matchup, and so is the Vulcan versus Freya in solo lane.
Yeah, and I think while we're on the topic of team comps, we have seen a lot of role changes here for Divinity. Rawan goes from mid to jungle, Suli goes to mid from ADC, Lushblood goes to support from jungle, and BornToMeme goes all the way to ADC. So we are seeing a lot of changes. Do you think maybe this one is the experimental game where they're switching it up a bit, or was last game maybe they were playing a few off roles?
I think it's probably a little column A, probably a little column B. Rawan was just added to this team right before the game had commenced, and they probably had a plan in mind. Hey, you go here, I'll go here. And after game 1, probably had a discussion, say, where would we better match up? Probably a lot of players on the team who can play multiple roles at this level, so why not swap it up and see what happens? Maybe it was, hey, I will deal with this Sylvanas mid myself. Let me over here, something like that. Big fight up here. Arachne's just running it down at the tower line. Those spiders just put in so much work. But here's the rest of the squad from Divinity. They've had enough of this nonsense, and they get the first blood. BornToMeme claiming Swagga.
Yeah, already a good answer, and I love the 4-man rotation. I think showing a lot of confidence there from Divinity. Unfortunately, on the other side, Wrath of Terra should get off a pretty big blue invade against IJustWantFPS. I don't think there's anything Freya can really do to stop that one.
Yeah, not at this level anyways. You're not a late game Freya yet. Can put out a little poke, and actually that poke is pretty good onto Xotzz, who's a squishy Vulcan, but gonna go ahead and just let the blue buff fall down to the other team. Not worth taking a death here. And we see Rama mid actually going up and claiming some of the jungle himself, which is a smart move. Try and put this Daji, who's a traditional jungler, behind.
Yeah, and I think it is really smart to put Daji's behind early. I think when Daji has a lead, you really, really feel it. The 1,000 cuts do so much damage. And the powwow can be extremely damaging early game, or maybe a few characters don't have beads, or maybe some don't really want to expend it, trying to save a CC immune ult or something. But yeah, I think if Rawan is able to get off to an early lead, this game should look a lot better for Divinity, as SandmanSam, first one to tick up to level 5.
Xotzz gets banished up into the sky, and Daji is here to try and claim the kill. Very low, but backfire gonna get him out of dodge. Hanging out under tower, free. Rawan does not have ult to pull him back in, and it actually Beats picked up on 4 out of 5 members of Wrath of Terra here. And that just goes to show you what a good draft Divinity actually did, where everybody has to get beads.
Yeah, and I do really like Divinity's draft. The only one I don't think I like is the Freya, but in all fairness, it's a Vulcan solo on the other side, so both teams going to be without that traditional tanky solo laner, so I don't think it'll be as damaging as if Xotzz like went that Thor again, or went an Achilles, or something like that. So I think still pretty balanced in that department, luckily for Divinity.
Yeah, and I was a little wary of it too at first, but when you think about it, especially with last game, there was no one really true to tankiness on the side of Wrath of Terra, and Freya does what Freya does best. Late game blows people up. Adaji comes in, but immediately met by the Valyouuu ult, dodges all of the chains, and is gonna walk away free. And there's a good dynamic we haven't necessarily talked about. You have Geb jungle, who obviously is gonna put out a lot of damage, but what does Geb do best? Cleanses people with the shield, and you can easily cleanse a Adaji chain if they aren't super quick on that lockdown.
Yeah, and I think that's nice that the Geb is on the jungle then, able to spread himself around the map pretty well. Although admittedly, last game we did see everybody from Wrath of Terra just abandon lanes and kind of run around with recklessness.
Bit of an arena match on a conquest map.
Yeah, I think Valyouuu is definitely good enough to kind of say, oh, hey, I need to not be jungle Geb, I need to be a support Geb for maybe 5 seconds, save a teammate, and then go back to full damage. I got full confidence that he'll be able to pilot this Geb.
One interesting thing I do want to talk about is, how do you feel about mannequins on Rom? I get the appeal kind of, but Rom, who's very attack damage heavy and can do a lot of damage by just buffing those astral arrows with a different starter, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think mannequins on any ADC inherently feels good when you play them. The only thing I don't like about it is, especially on Rama, some of those late game upgrades like the Hunter's Cowl or Death's Embrace feel so good on him in particular late game. Because this kit's all about auto attacks. It's not like a lot of other hunters where you're going to have to hit some skill shots and some random stuns. No, you are just left clicking the entire game. So I think maybe would have went better with some of the other upgrades. But Mannequin Scepter, I don't think he'll go wrong with it. Still a good item.
True. It's not certainly the worst item, as we see SandmanSam just trying to get that last minion. A bit of a funny interaction with the support there. You do, of course, have Sylvanas as well for that AoE mannequins. And right now it looks like, I mean, Transcendence has been pretty standard across ADCs all across the board for the last couple metas. And I've said it a few times, I'm not the biggest fan of it on a Rama, who obviously is almost purely auto attacks, but it can work. It makes your ult hit a little harder. You never run out of mana. Why not? Arachne's going to go straight in. He's got that stun in the kit to wrap up Lushblood. Not a lot for it. And now is facing down 3 members of Divinity. Eventually cut their losses. How tanky do you really expect this Arachne to get?
I mean, I think it kind of depends. Definitely building into the normal tank build path. I think a lot of the times when I do kind of see Arachne supports, they still build a ton of stuff like Golden Blade, Hasten Katana. So honestly, I would love to see DiscoFerry keep going this tank path, strictly for the fact that that Kabrakan is going to do so much work for this team if he's the only true tank in the game.
A bit of a 1v1 here, but that additional movement speed and the backfire and the knockup out of Xotzz going to get him free and clear away from this Freya. And this might be an interesting matchup because Vulcans just can do so much poke damage and you can stay so far away from your opponent. And Freya really wants you to not be far away. Just wants to stick on you with those slows and just eat you alive in a couple autos. I will say about this Arachne support, I hate Arachne, but I'm in favor of this just because I have coined the Mercury support and I swear by it and I swear I'm undefeated with it. So really any character can be built tanky and can work, and Arachne does have a kit to allow setup and peel from or for teammates. We're going to get to a bit of a pause here as Rowan, the jungler of Divinity, has lagged out. We will not have to sit here and watch this pause happen. We're not going to succumb you to that torture, so we will throw it to a break real quick and see you back when Rowan gets back.
All right, the pause has ended. Rowan has returned. We are getting back into game, and we got a small switch up here as Anthony is hopping into the cast. Anthony, how's it going?
It's going great. I love popping into chaos. The first game was chaos. The second game's comps are chaos. I am ecstatic to be a part of it. As we do see, Disco got caught out with a heart bomb, but Cupid ran away. He just wanted to give a little bit of a smooch on the way by. So, as I'm caught up on everything, we know this time Divinity's got to keep the game from getting out of control. Early Vulcan ultimate, but Freya gets her own, gets some good damage onto Xotzz. Suli picks up the kill onto SandmanSam. Chaos all around. So far, they're doing an okay job at that, as they do have the slight lead. They got the kill lead. So we need to see more of the same, or are you looking for something else from Divinity?
Honestly, I think if Divinity play really similar to last game, they should be fine. I honestly thought they did pretty good last time in terms of they got behind so early, but they did a pretty good job at mounting a small comeback. I think stayed pretty close in XP there towards the end. But I think we've already gotten Noob's opinion on these team comps. When you look at this Terra team in particular, what do you think of all the individual picks? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Give me your thoughts on that.
You know, it's funny. You would look at these comps with these really interesting selections. Valyouu's peeking out the blue buff, but he was a little late to it. No steal today. And obviously there's funny business. You got Sylvanas, ADC, you got a Geb jungle, Arachne support, Vulcans in the solo, which arguably isn't weird. But what actually has piqued my interest from the start is this sort of hybrid ability with Mannequin Scepter on the ROM. I almost would have liked to see a more traditional build because they're going to need that kind of damage come late, so we'll see if that matters.
That's funny. Noob did bring up that same thing about the Rama mannequins. Is a big field of love. Terra in trouble.
Rama goes in the air, and the Transcendence was not enough to pick up the kill onto Suli, so that power did not prove useful. And now SandmanSam is on the run, and he's got a Cabrakan blinking through the wall, and BornToMeme is taking the final hit of that kill. Now Swag finds himself stuck with the Dodgy right on his case, but he turns around with the big ultimate. Dodgy up into her own. It's going to do nothing more than burn the beads from Swag, and now Swag turns around onto Rowan. Arachne's looking for the final hit, can't get it. Dodgy's dashing away, and just like that, with all the tumbling over there, everybody kind of got away with the exception of SandmanSam.
Even gonna pretend to know what that team fight was. That was absolute chaos all around.
FPS is one hit away. Oh, the ultimate on the backfire! To save his life, will it matter? He's got to avoid the meatball too. He avoids that. He's down to one hit. Will the turret be enough? He's missing the autos. He can't afford to miss. And Xotzz hits the backfire. He couldn't afford to miss. It's a solo in the solo lane.
I thought that was going to come a lot sooner. I think Xotzz waiting for that backfire to come up instead of just autoing. Little odd, but does end up getting the kill on the first one for Terra. Pretty big turnaround from last game, but despite being down 3 kills to 1, they are down about 1,000 gold. So hopefully for Divinity, they can keep this one in check. I think Terra have a much less snowbally team comp this time.
Yeah, it's going to be it's kind of tough to get that going because obviously Geb, Sylvanas, they can do damage. I mean, we saw it last game. Sylvanas mid ran the game. But part of making that strong is getting ahead, which they're failing to do the same way as they did last game.
Yeah, I think still definitely have the chance to get ahead. A lot of their team can really pop off at any moment, not only on the gods, but the players as well. Speaking of pop off, Suli trying to take his red buff. Terra doesn't want that to happen, but I don't think they're going to be able to get into that jungle in time.
Yeah, the Cabrakan, played by Lushblood, was able to do a very good job at zoning them out. Valyouuu with the blink onto FPS. FPS ults the Vulcan ult, and he turns around the damage onto Valyouuu. Needs one basic, he gets it. Meatball sends him flying. Now he's trying to juke out Xotzz, but he just kind of stands still for the backfire and takes the damage. Over in the duo lane, Swag picks up the kill on BornToMeme. FPS gets away from the backfire. He's going to survive. Now we've got a Dodgy ultimate in the duo lane. Swag gets pulled in, but Rowan can't find the damage. Lushblood gets in, he's pulling DiscoFerry away, but he's gonna go down onto Rowan again. Ultimate down on Arachne. A blink forward from Swag. Finally picks up the kill, but it was SandmanSam with the snipes from the side. Now Lushblood finds himself on the run. Gonna tremble, doesn't matter. Swag gets the kill.
Yeah, and there is a Terra we are used to seeing from last game. Solid fight by them, picking up 3 kills. Now they do get the oracles. However, I don't know, can they start Gold Fury? They're gonna try it. Oh, does not get the last oracle. Poor SandmanSam.
Swag finds himself 1 HP, and Suli finds Swag. Now he's trying to get away, but the Cupid Heart Bomb is going to catch him from the side, and that's going to be a kill, but the Gold Fury is going to get snuck away by Wrath of Terra.
Yeah, now they're going to get that second Oracle, and that is going to send them up in gold from down to about 2.3 thousand. And we do have another pause coming out. Maybe another DC?
It looks like it is, so with that, we will be right back while we get that sorted out. We're back. Everything's plugged in. He's moving around. We're good to go. I got to breathe for a second. So take me through that last crazy fight we saw going lane to lane, Fish. What do you see?
I mean, I just think a lot of aggression from Divinity, and you do like to see it. I think last game, probably one of their problems, but they are able to pull out one, as Wrath of Terra did get a few kills too. But yeah, I think a much more even game state than we saw in the first one. Still looking good for Divinity. On the back foot, though, as Wrath of Terra looks for neutral objectives. I'd like to see them swing over onto a Scorpion or something here, but just back to mid.
I did like the sneak of the Fury during that fight. That could prove to be very clutch.
I was surprised Divinity didn't see it going on. They got the one kill back at the purple buff and then just kind of turned around.
And we do see some pings coming out onto the Pyromancer, so it looks like Wrath of Terror might be going for a back-to-back sneakaroo. We'll see. Divinity has not sniffed it out. It looks like they're going to get away with it. They will, as only Arachne was in the mid lane for Divinity to run into. Wrath of Terra gets the Pyromancer.
Yeah, and already I'm liking this pace of play from Wrath of Terra a lot more than last game. I know it got on him for maybe not going for enough objectives. The Dodgy is standing still again. Okay.
SandmanSam very low, had to go into ultimate. And now DiscoFerry is chasing down Suli. Uses the Purification Beads to continue the chase, but gets walled off from Lushblood. Geb blinks through with an ultimate of his own. Backfire. Lushblood's taken barely any damage. It's finally starting to go on, but as he's walking away.
Yeah, and now unfortunately the Dodgy has DC'd again, but I think they are out of pauses, so for the moment we'll need to play without a jungler as Swagga finds a big ol' no damage onto that Cupid.
Big root. Wow. There's the hits. He's dropping fast. Are the hearts enough? No. Swag had something to say about those hearts. BornToMeme falls.
Okay, my Discord must be lagging. I thought he ulted him and saw that Cupid take 0 damage. Then he lost 75% health to nothing as SandmanSam now being looked at. That Minotaur falls extremely quickly though. And Sandman's autos are hitting very, very hard with Transcendence and Jotun's Wrath.
Yeah, for this mid-game period, the level 14 to level 17, 18 time, that build is going to be hitting so hard. So this is the time where SandmanSam needs to make the mid-difference with that build. Because late, there is always a chance it falls off. I could be wrong, but it's just something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and I think interesting that he picked Rama as his hunter if he knew he was going to go into this build path. Speaking of build path, Xotzz is going to have to build some more defense. He is going to die.
He got caught out heavy, but wait just a second, because the shell and the Gep shields are all good. And right now he's getting away, but Valyouuu had to sacrifice himself to get him out of there as Suli picks up the kill. And now we're going to see Cupid dash in, fields of love down onto Xotzz and SandmanSam, but SandmanSam was unfazed. Xotzz dies in the back, but SandmanSam gets a kill in the front. DiscoFerry gets a kill on a Suli. Now Lushblood's got to find himself retreating again. It's a familiar theme in the mid lane here late.
Yeah, and Valyouu's going to be upset that Xotzz did fall after he gave his life for him. I was about to say that's a good trade, having the Gib fall instead, because with the Dodgy unable to farm right now, don't really lose too much by being behind a few levels. Fortunately, though, Wrath of Terra doing a really good job now pushing down this mid lane. Lushblood knows he can't step up. And just like last game, again getting aggressive instead of going for the objective. They try to go for a kill. It might be DiscoFerry's end up into the skies.
DiscoFerry was able to ultimate out of it, and now he's going to get aggressive. Dives down into FPS, but FPS still had ult. Now SandmanSam's going to get up into his own ultimate to try to get out of there. FPS taking major damage. Oh, the double ADC was too much to handle for FPS. He falls. And now BornToMeme arrives, but too little too late.
Yeah, Wrath of Terra do get a trade, give up a little bit of tower damage they could have gotten. Admittedly, probably did not have enough to burst down that whole thing, so maybe not a bad thing. They went for that kill. Now, walking back through the jungle, still need to be careful. They are up in levels, but Swagga in particular, I think, might get cut out here with that Tiamat going to buff him.
Yeah, Suli caught him out at possibly the perfect time. And one thing Sylvanas does not have is much movement. SandmanSam is lingering in the back, but we'll see if he gets there in time. Looks like he might go the other way, so Swag is just kind of left here to die. He does use the purification beads, though. Maybe a bit of a waste. Feels the love go down, though, so we'll call it even. Sully picks up the kill on the Swag.
Yeah, both parties are getting a little overzealous to live and die. I think he was going to go down anyway. Didn't need the beads and certainly did not need the Fields of Love. But regardless, that is going to be a small win for Divinity, as he was 3 levels up on that Cupid. Cupid gets kill credit and should now get a little bit of XP back, as a Great Scorpion going to be invaded from Wrath of Terra. That's a good move. I like to see them limiting the farm of Divinity. We're still down 6,000 gold, or 5,000 rather. I think any chance you get to choke him out of some more farm is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, and we're starting to see, as we're getting from mid, starting to be on the eve of that late game, BornToMeme on this Cupid could potentially be a difference maker. Not too much damage onto DiscoFerry as he gets called out by himself. We got a support versus an ADC, and BornToMeme is dropping fast, but he started to make the turnaround. The shell comes out, the ultimate comes out, the dash comes out, the Rowan comes out and gets the kill onto DiscoFerry. BornToMeme uses the heart bomb to beautiful effect, and Sully gets the kill onto Valyouuu, and BornToMeme gets the walk away, hearts in hand.
Yeah, and that is a really good kill from BornToMeme, as now SandmanSam goes into the sky. Does he find a kill? He does not. And their biggest chance at a steal goes down. Oni Fury dropping low.
But SandmanSam dashed in looking for that steal. Swag gets the gigantic ultimate. SandmanSam gets the kill, but he's dropping fast. Sully jumps in and picks up a kill. Lushblood gets the kill on the Swag. We've got killing sprees, and we've got an Oni Fury. Vulcan hanging out, though, looking for the steal. But he's gonna find the kill on the BornToMeme in the back. Sully and Lushblood are so low that Xotzz and his turret were able to pick up the Fury.
That is a really good kill by Xotzz. I was about to flame him for not hitting the Fury with the ult, but he knew exactly what he was doing. Great kill onto the Cupid, forcing Sully away, still gets it.
He might not be done.
Is gonna die.
He might not be done. He found Lushblood, but he missed the backfire as it hit the wall. He almost caught Lushblood sleeping there.
Absolutely heartbreaking if you are a Wrath of Terra fan. Luckily, though, not going to be dissuaded. Just straight up walking through the tier 2 tower. No real reason, but this Trebuchet should get that tier 2.
Yeah, you know, Xotzz traveled across the map, and it proved to be valuable. He almost got the kill. He got the Fury with him and his turret. He got the massive kill onto BornToMeme. Terrific rotation.
Yeah, it was a really good one, and now Divinity need to find some answer back. Oni Wave's pushing up, and all tier 1s are off the map for them. Rowan needs to be careful. DiscoFerry doesn't have much damaging items, but that Animosity, I think, does a sneaky amount of damage. But Cupid being close, they are just going to be able to get away.
Yeah, big stun might be enough to get him away. Gonna have to use that ultimate because Lushblood was standing waiting. But now, Arachne looking for the re-engage because Geb, Sylvanas, and company are on the way, but he's losing so much health. Maybe he should have waited a second longer. Rama ultimates come out and do a ton of damage onto BornToMeme. He had to back up. SandmanSam dashed into the Fields of Love, able to get back out, but Swag and Valyouuu were caught in it. Didn't take too much damage from it. And now we've got ourselves a tier 2 siege in the duo lane.
Yeah, and this tier 2 should fall if they play smart. SandmanSam does an incredible amount of damage, and Valyouuu sneaking around the back. There's a Cataclysm.
Big blink and the half hit. Oh man, BornToMeme just got blown up by Geb Jungle. Lushblood's gonna be soon to follow. SandmanSam gets the last hit. Xotzz did get picked up by Rowan though. So now with 3 in the duo lane and 2 hanging out, they're gonna back and look for a defense.
Yeah, definitely smart by them. Maybe a little late though. Big minion wave coming in.
Freya was able to sneak the Pyromancer, but fall back and defend your Phoenix. It's already down to a quarter health. Valyouuu, though, taking a lot of damage. Not as tanky as he could be for this. SandmanSam, though, wants to fight, but that will be his downfall. Swag gets the kill onto Rowan in response, but FPS showing up just in time gets the kill onto Swag, but they did lose the duo lane Phoenix.
Yeah, kill advantage, I think, going towards Divinity. But luckily for Wrath of Terra, getting that left side Phoenix down does open up the Fire Giant to them, if that's the route they want to go. They still have tier 1 in left, and the Fire Waves are starting to push out. Divinity all going to the right side, so I think Wrath of Terra have a really, really good opening here, if that is indeed going to be the next course of action.
You know, the Arachne is incredibly tanky, and Animosity is putting in some work, but the re-engage there was kind of the reason that fight as early as it was kind of the reason that fight didn't go the way as planned. It kind of just threw off the vibes for everything going forward. And while they got the Phoenix, him not being around was very impactful. So going forward, I think I want to see slightly better engages from the Arachne, because while tanky, you're not invincible. Fire Giant getting pulled, though, and it's already at half health. Xotzz and Valyouuu are here, but there's 4 members on the Fire Giant, and it's just the 2 of them. But in the back, Valyouu's blowing up BornToMeme. He's got to get out of there. Fields of Love to try to cause some distance, but the Purification beats. Rowan's trying to slow him down. It's effective. Divinity gets the Fire Giant. Rowan gets the kill on Valyouuu. Excellent rotation, saved everybody. Oh, SandmanSam's going up, though. Oh, only one shot was good.
Oh, there was somebody. My gosh, I didn't see who it was. It was 1 HP backing up. Not able to get that one, though. Maybe not within range, you think?
Yeah, I think he either, like you said, didn't see him, or I think the range might have been slightly out. He goes for the dash, but he was able to back to get away from it. That was close.
Indeed he was, and that was a really, really strong battle there from Divinity. Get a kill and get Fire Giant on all 5 members. Great job from them.
Yeah, impressive all around. The Greater Scorpion's going to get picked up. But Fire Minions were starting to sneak through, so pay a little more attention, but pay attention to Swag getting blown up by Rowan. So much going on, so little time to think. What do you do here if you're Divinity and Wrath of Terra? Because it kind of looks like we're in a bit of an awkward stalemate.
I mean, I think for Divinity, definitely play your aggression. You are behind on towers, but after that Fire Giant, you have the kill advantage, and you have level advantage. Now is definitely the time to get aggressive, and we are going to see them grouping on left here. I think that's the right play, but they should be able to push it out if they all group up. And on Wrath of Terra, I think you just need really solid defense. You're still pretty even in gold despite leading all game. As long as you don't get further behind, I think it's all good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of towers on the map, so even with that Fire Giant, I don't know how much Divinity can actually get from this fire. They are looking at the Gold Fury, but SandmanSam goes for the steal. Divinity does get the secure, but Rowan took so much damage in that fight, and now FPS is taking even more through the wall from SandmanSam. He dashes in, but he gets caught in the Fields of Love. Gonna have to Aegis and get a Gev Shield. Valyouuu so low. SandmanSam's even lower. He's dead. Now DiscoFerry's dancing around. Xotzz picks up the kill. Lushblood gets the double kill, and it basically falls to Xotzz here. He's kind of standing on his own, but everybody's low, and Divinity, they gotta go back. Suli dashes in. Rowan's not far behind. The kill goes the way of Rowan onto Xotzz.
Yeah.
Oh, blink from Swag. He caught Rowan lazy backing, and Rowan's gonna die. Suli not gonna be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, great play there from the Sylvanas. Maybe getting a little bit of retribution. And I think more important than just a kill, the fact that Fire Giant no longer on the Cupid, as gold difference has pulled dead even. Divinity have done a great job getting themselves back into this game.
Yeah, the chart tells you everything you need to know about this comeback. That's impressive. I'm not shocked, but the moral loss of last game could have played a big factor, and they did not let it so far.
Yeah, definitely did not, and you do like to see that if you are a Divinity fan. I think mental fortitude always comes into the question, especially in sets that aren't best of one. The ability to bounce back, the ability to adapt, we are being seen here from Divinity on full display.
I did want to point out that the Geb stayed and tried to use the shield, but it wasn't super on it, but the damage is on the Suli. He's going to kind of do a bit of a hit and run. I think I want to see Geb be a little more passive, not passive, but a little more patient with his shields going forward, because it kind of felt a bit rushed. He definitely could have helped the Rama out a little bit more. I don't know if it would have made a massive difference in that fight in particular, but I am a stickler for pointing things out for the future, and that is something we need to watch, because those Geb shields are so valuable.
Yeah, and I think some part definitely could be maybe not entirely used to Geb, maybe just riding high on confidence from last game, a little bit off kilter with the shields. I don't think it's anything to worry about, definitely fixable going forwards. But now, Wrath of Terra, the ones that are looking a little aggressive is Divinity here, backed up towards her tier 2. Fire Giant is worn off of all members, so about 1 minute till FG spawns. And do you think these teams are going to try to go for it right away, or are they going to delay and wait for the EFG?
Well, the Phoenix is back up for Divinity, so if they're going to make a fight in an attempt to defend this upcoming Fire Giant, now is the time because they're not getting pressured right now. They have some freedom to move around the map, but I have a feeling that if this Fire Giant goes the way of the Wrath of Terra, they're not going to have much longer to be able to say that, so they need to make it worth it while they possibly can before it's too late.
Yeah, definitely do. And now Wrath of Terra taking the forefoot onto this FG, spawning here in about 20 seconds, give or take. I'm horrible with estimation. Divinity all just pushing out minions there on the right side, so Wrath of Terra know where they are, they know they're here. And all 5, I think this is going to be one of the first true 5v5 fights we've seen all game. Even that fight on the Gold Fury was a little bit just give or take.
You can smell it in the earth, you can feel it in the air. We've got a fight coming for this Fire Giant. I like the positioning of the turret, but he is going to put a new one down. He was trying to make sure nobody would sneak up from behind. Fire Giant getting pulled by Wrath of Terra. It's going down so fast! They pick it up before Divinity could even respond. I don't think they were prepared for it to die that fast. They're going to have to reset and back up a bit, but FPS did not hear any of those comms. He's jumping in on the Xotzz. Xotzz is falling fast. SandmanSam up into the air. Big damage coming out, but everybody's still fairly healthy. Not anymore! They got blown up! DiscoFerry gets the kill on the BornToMeme. Valyouuu gets the kill on the Rowan. And all of a sudden, Wrath of Terra is running it down. In the back, SandmanSam gets the kill onto IJustWantFPS. Suli gets the return kill onto Valyouuu, trying to hold on. Xotzz is here. SandmanSam is here! He's gonna double kill! Suli falls! It's Lushblood and Lushblood alone to defend!
And look at that left lane, this could easily be the end. Okay, just walking through the mid tower, I thought they were gonna try to burst that down, but Arachne's gonna blink across. If they get this left Phoenix down, it could be the game. They have about 20 seconds till BornToMeme comes back. BornToMeme definitely has the ability to defend. Oh, but they're going for the kill onto Lushblood just in the game.
Lushblood is doing a beautiful job stalling. They went tunnel vision, and now it's just DiscoFerry. They're turning it around, but was that just enough time to stall? BornToMeme is up in 5 seconds. Here comes the Titan Siege. It's going down fast. Vulcan ultimate to try to get it down even faster. SandmanSam started out. He was taking the Titan. Lushblood blinks in. He's got DiscoFerry with him. BornToMeme's up. Rowan's up. Quarter health on Titan. BornToMeme falling fast. Swagga gets the kill on the BornToMeme. SandmanSam up in the air. The Rama ultimate is good. The Titan falls. Divinity could not hold it. Wrath of Terra gets the victory.
Yeah, and that is a 2-0 from Wrath of Terra. Really good end. I thought they were going to get too kill hungry at first, but luckily just in the nick of time, they do turn around, head on to the Titan. It is a swift 2-0 from the Order team. That was a really, really strong showing.
Whew. That was a lot. That was a fantastic attempt at defending. They did everything they could. They really didn't do much wrong. Lushblood did so good at pulling the attention away and onto himself, but it just wasn't enough. But overall, fantastic game and a great victory for Wrath of Terra.
Yeah, it really was. Definitely feeling it from last week. They didn't want a second loss in a row, and they do really good. And looking at these charts, there is some serious damage coming from not Wrath of Terra, but Suli on that Tiamat. Highest damage in the game, 34k. Did a great job, but unfortunately not enough to put up with the onslaught.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous attempt at defense. That was a gorgeous running it down for the victory. Wow, if that end didn't get you excited, I don't care how the game was going, then you're not a Smite fan. But with that, we are going to leave you. Thank you so much for watching the Smite Draft League on Premiere Week 2. We've got more games tomorrow. We're not stopping anytime soon. Make sure you follow the Twitch. Make sure you get in the Discord and get signed up to play. I've been Anthony. We had INooblet on production, and I had KingFsher as my homecoming date. We'll see you next time on the Smite Draft League.